Hello and welcome to BISP Solutions. My name is Ankita. Today we will continue with the workforce planning module. So before that, we will have a quick review of what we have done yesterday. Yesterday we learned how to create an application. Then we enable the workforce planning module into the new application that we have created of VPBCS. Then we configure the workforce planning module. Then we learn to load metadata while configuration. Then we define the user variables and user preferences into the application. Fine. So now we are going to learn today how to set up assumptions for the benefits, additional earnings, taxes, and then we will also see how to calculate the salary of an employee. So now let us go to the interface. So here now I will show you the compensation planning assumption first. So here we can see the assumption sheet. So here we have given the general assumptions. Okay, so general assumptions we are going to define for the sales US. So here for sales US, we have already defined the hours per day as 8 hours we will be working. Then we will be working for 5 days. So the hours per week is going to be 5 days multiplied with the 8 hours is going to be 40 hours per week. Then we will be having the working days per month. So per month we are assuming the working days are going to be 22 days. And then comes the partial payment factor. So here we are defining the partial payment factor as 100. Okay, now I will drag it. So partial payment factor, basically when we define partial payment factor is when there is an employee who is actually going for a maternity leave or paternity leave or some special category of leaves as per the employee handbook of the organization. So in that case, the partial payment factor converts from 100% to the 50% or 40% as per their rule books, or we can say the standard operating procedures of the organization. Then we have the sales grade with us. So here we have defined the sales grade for all the grades from 1 to 10. Okay, so here we can see that we have annual. For grade 1 we have considered the salary basis as annual, and the value is 1,20,000. Okay, so 1,20,000 basically means 1,20,000 will be divided with the number of months, that is 12 months, and we will get the value for per month salary is going to be 10,000. Okay, we will see this in more detail when we will be calculating the salary of an employee. Then comes the merit rate. So here the system defined merit rate and no merit and default merit. If I want to add some more performance merits, so what we have to do here is I will first go to the configuration. So here I will define the configure in application. Then I will select here the workforce module. In the workforce module, I will go to the performance metrics. Okay, so here we can see that we have the no merit rate and default merit rate. If we want to add few more members into it, we can just click on add, or we can make use of the batch import file to import the members. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the member using the add function. So here I have the okay, so here are the members. So we are going to add 4 members, that is do not meet the expectations, meet expectations, above expectations, and far beyond expectations. Okay, so we are just going to copy it from here. Okay, so here the member does not exceed expectations, so there should not be any space into it. So what I'm going to do is I will mention here under the score. and then I will mention its alias name over here. Okay, so the data storage will be stored here and the data type is going to be percentage. Okay, so I will then save it. Okay, now again I'm going to add 3 other members. So one by one I will add all the members, that is meet expectations. I will copy it from here. Meet expectations, and this is also going to be in the percentage form, and then I will save it. Then again add above expectations who have performed outstanding performance. And this is going to be percentage as well. Then lastly I'm going to add one more member here, which is far beyond expectations, which is outstanding performance, which was above the expectation level of the organization. Okay, so there I'm going to define this member as well. This is also going to be in the percentage form. After that I will save it, and after making these changes I'm going to refresh the database. So after refreshing the database in merit rate, we will find these 4 newly added items as well. So here I will show you the form, that is merit rate. See, so here 4 new members have been added into it, right? So here we can define the rates for in accordance with the performance as well. Okay, so does not meet expectation is going to be 0%. Then meet expectations will give us 5%. And the above expectation is going to be 10%, and far beyond expectation, let us assume it is 20%. Okay, now I will save it. Okay, now we are going to see the benefits and taxes here. So we are going to define the benefits and taxes on which we are going to calculate the salary of an employee. So here in the benefit section we have the medical contribution, provident fund and maternity leave. So I will find each and every member one by one. Okay, so in the medical contribution, the component type we are going to consider here as simple. Okay, then the payment is going to be, the payment here is going to be the annual, monthly, fiscal. Then the value is going to be, value type is going to be percentage of salary. Okay, then the minimum value is again going, maximum value is again going to be the percentage of salary, and threshold limit, the threshold scope is monthly. That means the medical contribution will be done on monthly basis. Then we consider it as non-taxable component. After that I will save the changes, and then I will click on next. Okay, so as per the assumptions, we are going to give 15% value of basic salary for medical contribution. So I will go to the rate and I will directly mention here 15%. Okay, I will just drag it. and then I will save it. And lastly, I will be reviewing the, wait a minute, here I'm going to select the entity as sales. Okay, so here it is going to be for sales, and I will mention here as 15%, and I will drag it to the rest of the years, and after that now I'm going to review it. So I will just click on next and will review the options. Okay, so here we can see that we are going to calculate the benefit at the rate of 15% of the basic salary for FY23. We can view for other years as well by clicking on the select year. Okay, so this is how it goes. After that, I will save the changes and then I will close it. Then we have the provident fund with us. So in provident fund, the component type again is going to be simple, and the payment terms is going to be, so here in the column we can see that financial account column is also available. This will be visible to us only when we enable the financial module as well, and we create a connection between the two, so that the data which is available to us in workforce planning can be imported to the financial planning module. Okay, so this head we will be getting only when we enable the financial module as well. Okay, so here we are going to have the monthly fiscal year. Then the value type here is going to be percentage of salary. Maximum value is also percentage of salary. Threshold is going to be monthly, and here it is going to be the taxable component. Then we will save the changes that we have made and then click on next. Now I'm going to define the rate here as 3% of basic salary for the provident fund. Okay, now I will save it and then I will click on next. So here we have the 3% of basic salary as the provident fund. After that I will close it, and lastly I'm going to define the maternity leave. So maternity leave is also going to be a component type as simple. Payment term is going to be monthly fiscal year. Value type is going to be here percentage of overall earning. Then the maximum value type is going to be percentage of overall earning. Threshold scope is monthly, and the component here a taxable component. We will understand how we have defined the percentage of overall earning and why we have selected the value type as percentage of overall earning and percentage of salary when we will be validating the data after defining the salary calculation of an employee. So this will give us a clear picture of it. Then I will click on next here, and the rate is going to be 0.3% of gross salary. Okay, so percentage of overall salary includes all the allowances except for the transport allowances. So this we will see how we exclude the transport allowance when we will be taking care of the additional earnings. So first here it is going to be 3.3%. And here we go. After giving the value as 0.3%, I will save it and then I will click on next, and here we can see that the rate is 0.3% of gross earning. Okay, after saving it I will click on close. So here we have defined the value for the benefits, and now we are going to move forward to the additional earning here. So the additional earning, we have three additional earnings. First is the accommodation allowance, responsibility allowance, and transport allowance. Okay, So let us go to the additional earnings as well. So here the component types are going to be simple, and the payment term is going to be monthly fiscal. Okay, so I will click on accommodation. The component type is going to be simple. Payment term here is going to be monthly fiscal. Okay, now the value type is going to be flat amount over here. The maximum value is also going to be the flat amount. The threshold scope is monthly. A maximum value type is basically means we can say that the maximum limit that we are setting up, that the allowances cannot exceed that particular value. Then this is going to be a taxable component, and the earning type is going to be add to gross pay. Fine. So here in accommodation allowance, I'm going to this add it to the gross pay. After that, I will save the changes and then click on next. So here, sorry, the accommodation allowance is not it is not a flat rate, it is a percentage of salary. Okay, so I will save it again after making the changes and then click on next. So here it is already given to us that the accommodation allowance is 5% of basic pay. However, for transport allowances and responsibility allowance, the value is going to be 1,200 and 500 respectively. So here I will just mention 5 as the 5%. Okay. So I will click on save and then to the next. So here here the allowance is on 5% of basic salary. Okay. Now I will review it for the rest of the years as well. So these are all going to be same. So after that I will save the changes and then I will close it. After accommodation allowance, we will be having the responsibility allowance. So the responsibility allowance, its component type is simple, and the monthly payment, and it is going to be monthly fiscal year payment terms. It is value type is flat amount. Okay, so here it is simple, monthly fiscal, value type is flat amount, and the threshold is monthly. Taxable component, yes, it is going to be taxable, and whether it is going to be added to the gross pay or not, let us check it. Yeah, this value is going to be added to the gross pay. Add to the gross pay. Okay, then I will click on next. So the rate is going to be here, the flat rate, that is $500. Okay, so here I will drag it for rest of the years and then save it, and then I will click on next. Okay, so now we can see that the responsibility allowance is $500 flat rate for all the terms. After that I will save it and then close it. Then lastly we have the transport allowance with us. So in case of transport allowance, the component type is going to be simple, payment term exactly the same, monthly fiscal. The value here is going to be flat amount, as I have already disclosed that the value is going to be $1,200. So the threshold is also monthly, taxable component yes, and earning do not add to gross pay. Okay, I will show you why we are doing this, because here in the given case we have seen for maternity leave benefits, we have already given the value as 0.3% of gross salary, but it should not should not include the transport allowances. Okay, so that is why we are considering here as do not add to gross pay. Then I will save the changes that I have made into it, and then I will click on next. Then here I will just mention the flat amount as 1200. Okay, so now I'm going to drag it to the other years, then I will save it. Okay, so here I will check this value for other years as well, so all are 1200. After that I will save it and then close it. Okay, now lastly we are going to consider the taxes component. So here we have four types of taxes. First one is the Medicare tax, Social Security tax, state income tax, and federal income tax. So here we have the taxes with us. So federal income tax is going to be tax rate. Its tax rate is going to be 10%. The component type is going to be simple, and the payment term is going to be monthly fiscal year. And the value type is percentage of taxable earning. The threshold scope is going to be monthly. Okay. So first we are calculating for the Medicare tax. So Medicare tax is at the rate of 1.45% flat rate. Component rate is simple. Payment is the monthly fiscal. Value type is going to be percentage of salary. Here it is again going to be percentage of salary. Threshold scope is monthly. After that I will save the changes, then click on next. Here it is note year. Okay, so now I will just define the rate as 1.45%. After that I will save it and then click on next. Okay, so here we can see that the tax of Medicare is going to be 1.45% of basic salary. Okay, after that reviewing it I will save it and then close. After that we will have social security taxes. The component type is going to be simple as well. Then we will be having the payment term as monthly fiscal. The value type is going to be percentage of salary for both value type and maximum value type. Threshold scope is going to be monthly, and then save it. Now here we are going to define the rate. So for the social security tax, the tax rate is 6.20%. 6.20. After that I will save the changes, then I will click on next. 6.2% of basic salary is the taxes. Okay, now I will go to the state income tax. So the state income tax component type is going to be simple. Payment term is going to be monthly fiscal, and the value type is going to be percentage of taxable income for both state income tax and federal income tax. Okay, so percentage of taxable earning. And the threshold scope is going to be monthly. After saving it I will click on next, and here I'm going to define the rate as 12%. So here the rate for the state income tax is 12% of taxable compensation, which do not include our Medicare, which do not include our medical benefits, which was the defined benefit Yeah, which was the benefit defined previously. Okay, as in the given case we have considered it as non-taxable component. Okay, so after reviewing it, we will see the changes that we have made into the tax rate. After lastly, we will have the federal income tax. The component type, again, we are going to consider here as simple. The payment term is more monthly fiscal. The value type is percentage of overall earning for both value type and maximum value type. Okay, now the threshold scope is going to be monthly. So here in the given case, we can see that maximum value type is a flat amount, okay, or we have the percentage of salary, which is a percentage of the basic pay. Then percentage of overall earning here includes the overall earning. Either it is taxable or non-taxable, that won't be considered. Okay, so even if it is non-taxable, that also will be considered for calculating the federal income tax. However, when we consider it as percentage of taxable earning, this will only consider the components which we have selected for taxable purpose. If there is any component which is non-taxable, that will be excluded for the calculation of federal income tax. Okay, now I will save the changes that I have made it, and then I will click on next. Here I will specify the uh, percentage rate of the federal income tax, which is 10%. After that, I will save the changes that I have made into it, and then I will click on next and view the tax rate which we have defined over here. That is 10% of the taxable compensation. Okay. Okay, so here we can, it's sure that it is. Okay, so here we can see that we have actually done the calculation for no tier, and for benefits and the additional earning we have no options. Okay, if we want, we have more than one tiers, we can add that into the configure in tiers and options. Okay, I'll show you that where we can add it. Before that, I will save the changes that I have made into the tax rates and then close it. Okay, so here we have already defined all the benefits, additional earnings and taxes. If we have more than one options or more than one slab rate or tiers with us, so we can add this in the options and tiers over here. Okay, so here we have the options and tiers. Fine, we can see that here we have tier 1, tier 2, 3, and if we want to add, we can add more. Here we can add the option as we did previously. So we can add this option as we did previously for the merit rates. Okay, in the similar manner, we can add the options and tiers as well. So here we have made the relevant changes. Now I will go to the compensation planning again. Okay, so here we have given all the necessary assumptions, we have defined it. Now we will go to the default. Okay, so here in the default value, I will first define the salary. So this is mandatory step for making the calculation of the salary of the employees in an organization according to their grades. Okay, so here we are considering the salary grade as grade 1. So the job is going to be the job of accountant, and the union code is going to be here as UC11. Then I will launch it. Fine. Now I'm going to the additional earnings. Here I'm going to define all the additional earnings for the accountant. Okay, so by right clicking, we can add the earning defaults over here. So here we have accommodation allowance, responsibility allowance, and transport allowances. So here I'm going to enable the accommodation allowance, transport allowance for all the jobs. So here, let me tell you how we can do that. So here we have selected the earning as accommodation allowance. Then here I will consider all the jobs. So irrespective of what the grade of the employees are, the accommodation allowance will be given to all the employees, that is for all the jobs. Here the union code is going to be UC001, and here the option is no option. Similarly, I'm going to add the earning for all the jobs. Here is the responsibility allowance. Okay, now I will launch it. So we are considering that the accommodation responsibility allowances are being served to all the members irrespective of their grades, okay, irrespective of their jobs. However, we will define the transport allowances later according to their grades. Okay, so now we move forward to the benefits here. Similarly, as we did in the additional learning, just by right clicking on the we can add the benefit defaults. So here we have the RSSB medical contribution, first benefit. So this I'm enabling for all the jobs. The union code is going to be UC001, and option is going to be no option. Then again I will right click on the jobs, and here medical, other than medical contribution, the provident fund is going to be given to all the employees, that is for all the jobs. Okay, now we have the taxes with us. By right clicking we will add the tax. Okay, so we have the federal income tax, and this is going to be for all the jobs. I will then click on OK, and the union code is going to be UC001, and here is your note here, and then I will launch it. Similarly, I will add the state income tax, and then I will launch it. Okay, so the federal income tax and state income tax is to be calculated for all the jobs, and that is for all the grades. Okay, for Medicare and the other jobs, for the Medicare and the social security taxes, that will is specifically for in accordance with the grades of the jobs. Okay, so here we have defined the required additional earnings, benefits, and taxes. Okay, and also the salaries. So here keep in mind that we are defining the salary for the accountant, and the union code is UC001. Okay, now I will then go to the manage employee, and then by just right clicking I'm going to add a hiring requisition. FTE for each employee is 1, and the employee type is going to be regular. The start date we are assuming it as from 1st of October. Then next, the job here is going to be the accountant as we defined it previously. Into the defaults, UC union code is UC001. Salary default, or we can say here as salary grade. Then here I will define the grade if we have selected the salary grade previously. So the salary grade is going to be 1, then launch it. Yesterday we have learned the employee life cycle. So according to the employee life cycle, the organization first plan the recruitment of an employee into the organization, right? So this is, we can say that this is a planning part. Okay, so here we have the total compensation. We can see the total compensation, that is total salary is 30,000, earning is 3,000, and total benefit is 5400. Here comes the total taxes as 7458. Okay, so what I will do is I will then right click on it, and then I will first synchronize the defaults. Then I will run the rule to synchronize the component definition. And lastly, we will be calculating the compensation. Okay, so we are done with this part. Now, this was the planning part. Now, what we are going to do is we assume that we have added this employee into the, okay, so we will be now considering it as an existing employee, as we have added this employee in the month of 1st of October. So here we will be running the business rule to associate the employee to the existing employee. Okay, so in the existing employee, we are considering E0001, which is the employee ID of an employee. So now we have associated this employee to the existing employee. So we can see that here we do not have any calculation of the compensation, right? Now I will go to the existing employee tab. Here we find the employee name is Starkrop, and it is working as an accountant. Okay, so FTE assumption is 1. The merit month is the October, and the start date is from 1st of October 2023. The total compensation we can find here. We will expand the total compensation over here. Okay, we will see the total compensation as the basic salary, then the earning, then total benefit, and total taxes. We want to see the detail of the employee compensation. I will then go to the employee details, and here I will specify the job of the employee and then the name of the employee. After that, I will click on go. Okay, so as we can see that the employee has joined the organization in the month of October, so the salary calculation from the month of October is visible to us into the interface. Okay, so what I will do here is I'm going to expand the compensation part. Okay, then I will click it as an open in a smart view. Okay, so there is some issue with this smart view. So what I will do is I will click on the spreadsheet export. This is the offline mode with which we can get the data into the Excel sheet. Okay. However, if we do a smart view connection, so this will become an online mode, and any updated made into the cloud service will all be visible to it in the smart view sheet just by by one click of refresh. Okay, so here we have the compensation calculation. Okay, so the basic, so the grade, it is going to be grade 1 salary. I will take you to the grade 1 salary here. I will take you to the assumption sheet. Here we have defined the salary grade for sales US. I don't know why it is not visible to us here. Previously we have defined the salary grade as sales US as for grade 1 10,000. Okay, so later we have defined the accommodation allowance as $500 at a flat rate. So here we can see that the responsibility allowance is 500. Let me check whether the responsible accommodation allowance is 500 into the application. We will first go to the configure part to recheck whether the accommodation allowance is correct or not. I will go to the benefits and taxes, then to the accommodation allowance, additional earning. Here I will select the accommodation allowance. Okay, sorry, the accommodation allowance that we have defined is the 5% of the basic pay, which is 5% of $10,000. So here let me calculate it. There is some issue with the Excel sheet over here, so let me first okay. So now the basic pay is 10,000 and this will be multiplied with the 5% for the calculation of accommodation allowance. We are going to get $500 as accommodation allowance. Okay, then comes our responsibility allowances. Okay, so here the responsibility allowance we have in our assumption sheet is the $500. Okay, so it is a flat rate 500 we are getting here. Then next we have the RSSB medical contribution. Okay, so the medical contribution here we have got is the 15% of the basic pay. So the basic pay is 10,000, which will be multiplied with the 15%. Okay, so this is 1500. Then after calculating the medical contribution, we have the staff provident fund. So the staff provident fund was 3% of the basic salary. Okay, so this is going to be basic salary and 3%. Then we have the federal income tax. The federal income tax was to be calculated at the rate of 10% on the taxable earning. So in the given case, our taxable earning were our basic pay, then the responsibility allowance, accommodation allowance, and then the staff provident fund, but we haven't considered medical contribution for the as a component, as a taxable component, so this is excluded from the series. Okay, so what I will do here is I will add the basic salary plus responsibility allowance plus accommodation allowance. Then we are excluding the medical allowance, oh sorry, the medical contribution. Then the staff provident fund is being added. Okay, so we are going to consider this in the parenthesis. Then we will multiply this with 10%. So I think we haven't considered all the, okay, yeah, one more value was left, that was allowance. Okay, so now we got the value as 1130, hence our data is validated for the federal income tax. Now lastly we are going to calculate the state income tax. Okay, so state income tax was at the rate of 12%, so we are going to just copy it. Okay, sorry, we need to fix it. So what I will do is I will just okay, and we won't be including 1500 value. And here we will be having the 300. Okay, sorry, this is should be 12%. Okay, so the taxable value we can see is 2486 per month. Okay, so when we multiply all this value with 3 months, the end result is going to be the year total value, which we can see over here. Now we can see it the same value in the quarter. Okay, so what I will do is, this is the grade 1 salary basic. Then we were having the accommodation allowance. Then we have the responsibility allowance. Okay, then the 500 value was the medical contribution. Okay, contribution. Then 300 was our staff provident fund. Then we have the federal rate tax, federal income tax. And lastly we were having the state income tax. Okay, this was all for the 1 month. So this was our monthly data. So for the whole year, the employee has served only for the till the month of December. That is for 3 months. So now we are going to calculate the salary for all the 3 months. Okay, so here we go, and hence the data is validated for the quarter 4 and the year total value as well, and then multiplied it with the 3 months. Okay, so this is how the salary of an employee is being calculated. Okay, so now in tomorrow's session we will be learning the we will complete the entire life cycle of the employee. That is, we will be going to see the transfer, then the departure and resignation of the employee. Okay, so today we have learned how the employee is being added into the organization. Okay, and after planning how the salary is being calculated for an individual employee. Fine, so I hope that's all for today. For any more queries, please feel free to ask. Thank you.